Micheal B. Jordan is returning to play Adonis Creed for a third time, but this time around, Micheal ran into a huge problem, which forced him and his trainer to completely overhaul his training and his diet. But we can't look at Micheal B. Jordan's Creed 3 training in a vacuum, because he was able to do what he did in Creed 3 because of all the years of training that came before it, all starting with the first Creed movie. The original Creed was the movie that established Micheal B. Jordan as a fitness icon. To take Micheal B. Jordan from a somewhat fit young man into an insanely ripped boxer, Michael's trainer Corey Collette put him through a training plan that combined bodybuilding work, high-intensity interval training, and classic boxing training. Micheal got ripped in the first Creed movie, but it was nothing compared to his physique in the later Creed movies. And that's all thanks to the work he did for 2018's Black Panther. For Black Panther, Micheal B. Jordan played Eric Killmonger, who in the comics is a giant 6'6", 250-pound mercenary. So Michael's main goal for the role was to pack on as much muscle mass as possible. To help him do this, his trainer Corey had him drop all the boxing work and most of the cardio work from his training, and instead had him go all in on a classic bodybuilding routine, while at the same time bumping up his calories and his carbohydrate intake. Essentially, Micheal did a big lean bulk for Black Panther, and it really paid off. You can see Micheal is looking much bigger than in the original Creed movie. He's definitely at a higher body fat percentage than before, but having periods where you're at a higher body fat percentage is necessary for creating an optimal environment for muscle growth. Thanks to Micheal B. Jordan's bulking efforts for Black Panther, he had packed on way more muscle onto his frame, which left him in a perfect spot to shred down and create his greatest ever physique for Creed 2. In Creed 2, Micheal essentially went back to the same boxing, lifting, and cardio-focused training plan that got him ripped for the first Creed movie. But this time around, thanks to all that extra Black Panther muscle mass, when Micheal B. Jordan shredded down to a super low body fat percentage, his final physique was way more impressive. So that leads us to Creed 3, where Micheal B. Jordan is faced with a whole new set of challenges. See, for his prior films, he just had to worry about getting into amazing shape and then attending to his duties as the star or co-star of the film. Sounds easy enough. But for Creed 3, Micheal B. Jordan is no longer just a pretty face, because for this film, he has to train, diet, act, all while he's directing the movie. Yep, you heard me right. If you didn't know, Micheal B. Jordan is actually Creed 3's director. Because of the increased level of responsibility, Micheal B. Jordan had way less time to dedicate towards his training, sleep, and diet. Plus, he had way more stressors that could negatively impact his hormone levels and his ability to recover from his training. But luckily, Michael's trainer Corey set up a genius plan so he could navigate all these challenges and still bring an amazing physique for Creed 3. And those of you who believe you're too busy to get into amazing shape, listen up, because I'm about to share some advice that'll shatter that belief. The first part of Corey's plan for Micheal was centered around his diet. During the final weeks of Michael's prep for both Creed 1 and Creed 2, Corey had him on a highly restrictive low-calorie diet so that Micheal could get crazy ripped by the time filming came around. But that type of highly restrictive diet wasn't going to fly for Creed 3, because as you know, if you've ever tried going on a super aggressive fat loss plan, it's next to impossible to concentrate because all you're thinking about is how hungry you are. So Corey had Micheal on a much higher calorie diet leading up to the filming of Creed 3. And while Corey hasn't shared the exact details of Michael's diet plan, there's only one way Micheal could have increased his calorie consumption while still being able to lose fat, and that's by losing fat less quickly. The longer you give yourself to lose a given amount of weight, the less of a calorie deficit you'll need to impose to lose that weight. And believe me, being in a slight 250 calorie deficit is a cakewalk compared to being in a 500 to 1,000 calorie deficit. So if you've ever tried to lose weight but gave up because of cravings, extreme hunger, or fluctuations in mood or energy levels, then you might have just been trying to lose fat too rapidly. Especially when you're really busy with your job, school, or maybe a family, you want to take on as little as possible and just focus on being highly consistent. And creating just a slight deficit is going to take a lot less preparation and a lot less willpower than imposing a giant one. Another thing Corey had Micheal do for his diet as filming approached to help improve his energy and focus was decrease his carbohydrate intake while increasing his fat intake. When you eat carbohydrates, especially fast digesting carbohydrates like sugar, your body needs to release insulin, which removes excess sugar from the blood and stores it in the muscles, liver, and in the fat cells. This release of insulin can cause people to feel sleepy and dull. This is why you always get so sleepy after lunch and want to take a mid-afternoon nap. So by decreasing Michael's carb intake and replacing those calories with fats, which don't elicit the release of insulin upon consumption, Corey made Michael's energy levels much more steady throughout the day, which would really help with his duties as a director. Now onto Michael's training for Creed 3, and this is where it gets pretty interesting. But if you're going to train hard, you better do it in style, and that's where my partners over at SuperX come in. They make the world's most badass workout apparel. They've got designs based off all your favorite heroes, and their products are super high quality. They've got thousands of 5-star reviews from across the globe, so you know it's good stuff. They're always coming out with sick new designs, but everything is done with limited runs. So if you see something you like, you have to grab it fast by using the link down in the description of this video, and then use code DEMERCE for 20% off your first order. It's a great way to support the channel while getting some world-class workout gear. Now back to the video. For the previous 2 Creed movies, Michael would train for up to 6 hours a day between all his boxing, bodybuilding, and cardio work. But that simply wasn't going to be an option for Creed 3, as Michael, 1, didn't have the time to spend every waking hour in the gym, and 2, he needed to save his energy so that he could stay sharp for all his duties as a director. So what Corey had Michael do was break down his training into 3 to 4 short workouts that he would perform throughout his training days. So in the morning, he'd do a brief but intense conditioning workout, some boxing practice or heavy bag work around midday, and then another cardio or weightlifting session in the evening. This is obviously still a lot of training, but the program's overall training volume is much lower than Creed 1 or Creed 2, and Michael was able to get away with a lower volume training plan for Creed 3 because this time around he wasn't focusing on drastically improving his physique like he did for the first 2 Creed films. And instead, it seems his main goal was just to maintain his fitness, physique, and performance as best he could while taking on the director role. Now, of course, Michael was still doing a lot of training just to maintain his physique, but that's because the more advanced you are, the more you'll have to train just to maintain your results. But for those of you who are just at the start of your fitness journey, you can do a lot less weekly training volume and still see great results because the stimulus your body will get from training is so much more novel. And if Michael can act, direct, all while staying in shape at the same time for Creed 3, then you can definitely find 2 to 3 hours a week to train. And to help you get started, I've gone ahead and created an incredibly efficient 3-day week training plan based off of Micheal B. Jordan's training that'll work your entire body while giving you a great cardiovascular workout. And you get all this with only a 30 to 45 minute time investment per workout. You can download the plan 100% for free with the link in the description of this video. Now, if you're serious about getting into great shape, you're going to need to be tracking your nutrition. So go ahead and watch my video teaching you everything you need to know about tracking, and I'll see you there.